Hello guys, welcome back to Lines of Battle, and today we are going to look at some of the amazing features coming to the monumental April 1st update. Now this is actually the dev server, which you can also access yourself, over there with the link. So I'm not actually sharing anything secret, this is all publicly available, but so let's get right into it. First of all, let's hop into this play button, and let's see what changed. Now we have these beautiful icons for each game mode. And let's say if we want to hop into custom matchmaking. Now we can customize our matches even further than before. For example, now we can decide how many players we want to have in this game and what teams they should be a part of. Like in this case, I can put 3 players on team 1 and 1 player on team 2. Now furthermore, you can actually also play offline, and in this new update, now you are able to play on hot seat. Now you weren't able to do this before. Let's just quickly make a hot seat game to show this feature. There you go. Now, do you notice anything different about this at first glance? Well, you will as soon as we end our deployment. There you go, I've also had my deployment on the other player as well. There you go. And just look at what strange thing happens when I try to move with my units. Now you have these very long lines. Now if you look carefully, a segment of this line is much more clearly visible than the rest of it. This showcases how far your unit will go in the first turn. Lines of Battle now supports multiple turn orders. If I just end my turn like this, and my opponent moves like this, let's say, in the next turn, you will see how my orders are still intact. This is massive, especially for smaller game modes, where you have to play on a very tight clock. Now you won't have to create new orders for every turn. In fact, you can just click on wherever you want to get to and the game will get you there in a couple of turns. However, this is far from the only thing you can do in battles. Now, do you see this wiggly line down over here? It says formation. If you click on it, it turns into a line. Now, if I select my army, click on somewhere on the map, and I will hold down my right click and just drag it, you can see how my units will form a perfect line. Once again, this is monumental. Just look at how easy it is now to switch between a tight and the loose formation. Just like that, your troops will do it automatically. It previously would have taken you many orders, and now you can just do it with the simple clicks, plus they will form a perfect line. You will no longer have these very weird bumps here and there in the line. Now obviously it also applies to the shoot and move order, as well as for the fallback order, just as you would expect. And yeah, you can also spot some further UI changes. The information got moved from down here to over here, and now you have this reworked information bar. But if you click this button up here, then you can view a more detailed information table, where we can check the different effects just as previously. And some of the buttons have a different location as well. The battle has a new design and so forth and so forth. Now let's actually just quickly play a couple turns, because I want to showcase something really cool about this. Alright, now I'm going to click on the replay battle button, and look what happens when I stop this game. Now we have a replay rework. I can basically move this slider to any turn of the battle. Now in this case, our battle only had 3 turns, so I should be able to move it to the first 2 turns, because the 3rd turn was incomplete. And so previously, if you wanted to get back to a previous point in the battle, you had to restart the whole replay, but now you can just drag it back a turn and then replay from there. Plus, we can also change the speed of the replay in the UI itself. Now previously you had to go into the settings, but now this is a much more accessible way to change the replay speed. For the next feature, we are going to hop out of this game, back into the menu. Now let's take a look at the army compositions, and when you click on this tab, you will see something strange. There is now a skirmish mode, but if you look at the available manpower, you can see how it is very damn close to what Clash used to be. What happened is that lines of battles got a lot bigger. In fact, now we have this monumentous grand battle option, which would probably be extremely crazy in fact. So let's just click on it and let's see what units do we have to work with. And now you see that we actually have 3 more units in the game. Now these are the militia, which is now the cheapest infantry unit. Then we also have a dragoon, which is pretty similar to hussar. And we also have the 8-pound foot artillery. Now once again, this gives further customization to your builds, and it will shade the current metas. Also yeah, you can build a massive army with these resources, but now with the custom orders such as the former line, as well as the multi-turn moves, it will actually be plausible to play games as big as these ones. Now let's take a look at online matchmaking. We can see the new skirmish game mode over here. Everything looks fine until we spot the team sizes. Yeah, now you can play team battles online in public matchmaking as an ELO rated game. Plus you can see a very strange checkbox which says play only with coalition teammates. Now when we hover over this box, it shows us a stop sign. That is because we are not in a coalition just yet, so if we hop over to coalitions, we can now create our own coalition. Basically a coalition is like a faction. You could form a faction with pro players or with your friends, and if you click on that checkbox in the matchmaking, then you can make it so that only people in your coalition can be given to you as teammates in public matchmaking. Now let's just name our coalition, let's say tutorial do not join, and let's just sacrifice 5000 ECU, why not? There are way too many ECUs anyways. In one of my polls there were like 12 ECUs I believe. And so now you can see our team appearing in full capitals with only me as their member. And so you can set a description if you want to, like so we are full. And then you can also see that you can get a shareable invite. If you click on the share button, you have a displayed coalition elo, and then you can also invite up to 9 members. And so if we click on delete coalition, and if we confirm, then I'm not sure if we get back our sweet ECOs or not. But let's see, I guess we do not get them back actually. So just be careful with that button. But now let's go over to the settings themselves, because we have quite some interesting stuff over here as well. Going over to graphics, you can see that now there is a new player color, the black color, which is quite fun. And also you can now customize your keybinds over here, plus now there is an extended language support. Now you can play in German, Spanish, Hungarian, Russian, Portuguese, Japanese, and there's also like a Chinese somewhere, yeah, down here, and so forth and so forth. I will just put this back onto English, but you can expect even more languages popping up over here later on. Now going to the scenario editor, we can actually see some further changes. If you are a fan of creating scenarios, you might be pleased to see that now you can create scenarios fit for multiple teams. As you can see, now we can add players, like so for example we can have 3 players, 2 of them will be in team 1, 1 of them will be in team 2, and then we can create units assigned to each player, like player 1, player 2 and player 3. It will be very interesting to see historical battles with 8 or 6 players. Some of them might be quite chaotic actually. And at last, I have spotted one more very interesting thing coming to the game, that being in the ranking tab, now you can actually view multiple pages. So you won't only be limited to only seeing the top 10 at each time, but you can actually go to, let's say, the 3rd page, and then we can see which players lost some of their games on the beta server. The same also applies to the prestige leaderboard, although because this is the test server, you can't actually see any of the donators over here. But it will definitely work for the base game. Now keep it in mind that there is still a bit over a week until these updates come out to the base game. So some of these features might get changed or improved. We could also get some new features that were not announced yet and are not in this test build right now. But now you can have an idea on what is about to come to this game. The militia and dragoons and the 8-pound-foot artillery will definitely shake up the current builds. But so what update are you awaiting the most? Let me know down in the comments.